Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to a tutorial video on how to integrate the Mixer Streaming Interactive API with the Java edition of Minecraft. What does all that mean? It means that if you stream on Mixer, there is an interactive API, which is a bunch of buttons that can appear underneath your Mixer stream. And you can tie those buttons to commands that are run in your Java Minecraft world. And you can pretty much link a button to any command or a sequence of commands that can allow your viewers to directly affect what happens in your in-game world. Let me demonstrate that now. Here is the Direwolf20 Mixer page, and you can see underneath the area where my stream would appear if I were live at the moment, you can see two buttons, one that says morning and one that says zombie. The morning button will simply set the time to morning, and any viewer watching my stream is able to click either of these buttons, and it will affect the world in game. So let's demonstrate. I'm going to bring up Minecraft, and now I'm going to click the morning button. Let's see what happens. Set time to 0. Perfect. Now I'm going to click the zombie button. It spawned a zombie right on my head. So this tutorial video will allow you to learn how to set up buttons that can work in the exact same functionality and create your own interactive experience with your viewers. So I think this is a really cool feature. And the reason for that is it's really the first time that a streaming platform has given viewers the opportunity to directly and immediately affect the world that the streamer is playing in. So your viewers can pretty much execute any in-game command in Minecraft, and it happens immediately. Those of you who watch my Mixer stream know that the stream delay on Mixer is extremely short, usually less than a second. That means that when you click the zombie button, it immediately summons a zombie in your world, and there's no stream delay, so you immediately see it happen. It's pretty cool. So let's get into the tutorial and learn how to create your own Mixer buttons. No programming knowledge is required, and no programming environment is required. It's all done through a web browser. Let's take a look. To get started, first, you're going to have to download and install a Forge-based mod into your Minecraft instance. If you're unfamiliar with how to do this, you're going to need to find another tutorial. It's outside the scope of this tutorial. However, this is available on CurseForge, and if you're using the Curse client, you're able to go ahead and install the Mixer mod very, very easily. The second step is to run the following command. Once it's installed, you want to run mixer start. The very first time you run this, you're given a code that you have to set up on mixer.com/go. This is only to authorize this game client to affect things on your Mixer account. So let's switch over to a web browser and see what entering that code looks like. All we have to do is go to mixer.com/go and type in the code that we were given. If you scroll back in the video, you'll know that the code was Q334TX. When we do that, it just says, hey, do you want to give the Minecraft mod here the ability to run as an interactive game on your Mixer channel? You click approve and you're done. That only has to be done the very first time you run Mixer Start in that instance. If you set up a new instance, you may have to do that again. It's no big deal because it's a pretty quick thing to do. From this point forward, your Minecraft Java instance has the ability to talk to the Mixer Interactive API. Now we can go ahead and start setting up buttons. Now to get started creating your own custom buttons, you're going to want to go to mixer.com/lab, and that will bring up the interactive lab where you can go ahead and build your own custom buttons and associate them with the commands that you want to run in game. Typically when you visit this page, if this is your first time, you may not see any projects listed here. These are other projects that I've worked on in the past. Now what I'm going to do is create a new project from scratch so you guys see how that works. All you have to do is click Create New Project and give it a name. I will call it YouTube Java Demo. So you can see that this is the name of this project, and we hit save. Perfect. On the info tab of this interactive lab, you can see that you can upload an image if you want, because this can be made available to other users to use the same stuff that you set up. So once you've built something cool, you can share it with your friends. Or if somebody else built something cool, you can use their project. If you want, you can go ahead and specify what game it's for. This is optional. We'll specify it as Minecraft. You can also specify some details down here that basically explains what this is, what it does, and how to use it. It's not required to fill out, so we'll just go ahead and scroll to the bottom and hit save. Great, we've got a brand new project created. The next step is to build buttons. This is done on the build page. On the left-hand side, we can see scenes, which we'll talk about later in this tutorial, and controls. Controls are basically a list of buttons that your viewers can click on. The right-hand side is the grid, which we'll talk about in a moment. If we want to create a new button, all we have to do is click the New Control button. First, we have to give it a name. This is a name that shows up behind the scenes that the viewers won't see. So I'm going to go ahead and name this button Zombie. We're going to create a button that will summon a zombie on the player's head. Pretty simple. So click Add. We now have a zombie button. Great. If we expand this, there's a few fields to fill in. The text field, which we can see on the tooltip, this is the text that's displayed to the viewers. So we'll call it Summon Zombie. The spark cost is related to how much in sparks to charge users for clicking this button. Sparks are accumulated up on the top right here, and you can see that for every 5 minutes watching, you earn 10 experience, aka 2 experience or 2 sparks every minute you're watching a stream. So viewers don't have to pay for this, they just watch streams and they earn sparks. It's pretty simple and straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and set a spark cost of 25. That sounds like a pretty cheap cost. Keyboard control is optional. This allows you to set it up so that your viewers can press a keyboard hotkey to activate this button. I'm going to skip it for now. Tooltip is what shows up on the button when you mouse over it. I'm just going to put the tooltip Zombie Attack, just so you can see what it does. We've now set up some of the attributes of the button, like the text and what it looks like to the viewer. Now we have to define what the button does, and that's done by adding metadata properties. The first property we're going to add has to be named Command. This is a text-based property, and this is the exact command that you want to run in-game. It's run as your player. So for example, if you want to summon a zombie in-game, you would type /summon zombie, and that will run that exact command in-game. So we'll hit save. The next property we're going to want to add is called Cooldown. Cooldown determines how frequently the button can be clicked. Once this button is clicked, it will go on cooldown, and it can't be clicked again for a certain period of time designated here. I'm going to set this to 15 seconds and hit save. We've now got a button that's going to work. The next step is to put that button on the grid where users can click it. If you remember from before when the buttons were up, there was a section underneath my stream with a couple buttons on it. That section is represented here in the blue bordered box. We can simply click and drag to drop the zombie button on the box area. We can then expand the zombie button to change its shape and size, so we can make it as big or as small as we want. One thing to note is that this is the interactive panel that is shown for desktops. It's called the large grid. There are 2 other panels that you're going to want to drop buttons onto. The medium grid is what's displayed to viewers watching on a tablet. It's a slightly different size to fit a tablet's display area. So you're going to want to go ahead and drop the zombie button on there, and then again, optionally adjust the size if you wish. Finally, there is a small grid for phones, so any viewers watching on their mobile phone has a grid as well that's again a slightly different size to match the size of a phone's user interface. So we'll go ahead and set that up as well. You're going to want to set up buttons for all 3 types. In the rest of this tutorial, I'm going to skip the mobile and tablet settings. At this moment, we're going to want to click Save. We're ready to go, except for one more step. This only has to be done once, but right now at the top of the screen there is a button that manages how this project is shared with other people. Currently it's set up so that nobody can use it. Instead, I'm going to change this so that anyone who has the version ID and code can use this project. I'm going to go ahead and click that button, and it will give me the version ID and code that I need to access it. I'm going to copy the code to my clipboard because we're going to be pasting it into Minecraft in a moment. The version ID we're just going to note is 139712. Great. So now we're going to go ahead and hit save. We're now ready to activate this button set up in our Minecraft game and connect it to the Mixer interface. To do that, we simply switch back to Minecraft. In Minecraft, we type /mixer, start, the code, the version ID, which is 139712, and then we paste in the share code. We'll note that it says Mixer interactivity starting, and then interactivity is enabled. When we switch back to our screen that shows my Mixer streaming page, we can see Summon Zombie is available. Remember, we named the button Zombie, but we made the text that's shown to the users Summon Zombie. And we made the pop-up tooltip Zombie Attack, with a spark cost of 25. Excellent. Now when I click this button, it should summon a zombie in my world. Let's switch back to Minecraft and test it out. I'm going to click the button right now. Perfect. Object successfully summoned. Great. That was easy. You're not limited to only one command per button. You can have a sequence of commands run per button by simply separating them with a line break. Let's set up a new button really quickly to demonstrate that. We're going to call this Spooky Time, which you can see I've used this button name before. One quick note, there's a option to make this a joystick. We're not going to cover that in this tutorial, but you can give your viewers a virtual joystick that can control things. For now, we're going to stick with the type called button. We're going to name this Spooky Time. We're going to set the spark cost this time to 15, and the tooltip will be night plus thunder, because that's what we want to do. The Spooky Time button will set it to nighttime in game and cause a thunderstorm to occur. We're going to add the property command again, and it's going to be time set 18,000, which is sometime in the middle of the night, and then we'll do weather thunder, which makes it a thunderstorm. Sounds like a good time. Now we're going to add a property called cooldown, which is going to be, let's say, 60 seconds. So viewers can only click this once every 60 seconds. We're done. Now we have to just drop it onto the dashboard, set the size and whatnot here, and viewers now have a button once we hit save. In order for this to be available, we have to run the following command. Mixer stop, which you can see I'm running right here, will take away the viewer's buttons. And running the same mixer start command with the same share ID and code will bring the buttons back with the new functionality added. Pretty cool. Now, when we go ahead and click the Spooky Time button, we'll see that it goes on a 1 minute cooldown. And if we switch back to Minecraft, you'll see it set the time to 1800, which is midnight, or 18,000, and it changed to rain and thunder. Pretty cool. It sure would be nice if my viewers could do something nice for me instead of attacking me and making it spooky and thunderstormy out. So let's go ahead and set up a button that allows them to do the reverse. We'll make it daytime and stop raining. So let's give that a shot. I'm going to go switch over to Mixer here, and we're going to add a nice day button. We're going to hit add. The text will be nice day. The spark cost will be 15, just like Spooky Time. And the tooltip will be morning plus clear. The metadata value property for command will be a text, which will be time set 0, which sets it to morning, and weather clear, which makes it stop raining. And we'll hit save. We'll add a cooldown of number 60, which means this button can only be used once every 60 seconds. Great. We drag it onto the dashboard, make the button a little bit bigger, and hit save. Perfect. Now, all we have to do is switch back into Minecraft, Mixer stop, and Mixer start. The buttons are available on my Mixer page for streaming, and a viewer can click Nice Day right now. And you can see it just set the time to 0 and change the weather to clear. Pretty nice. Now this is a perfect segue into another feature that might be really useful. Let's say we didn't want these two buttons to just be spammed, right? Oh, look, you made it rain, and then less than a second later, another user clicks, oh, make it sunny. So those buttons, it would be nice if you could set up a shared cooldown on those two things. So to do that is actually possible and pretty easy. First off, you're gonna have to add two new metadata properties. So let's refresh our memory on how this works. Each of these buttons has a 60-second cooldown. Spooky Time and Nice Day have 60-second cooldowns. What I'm going to do is add a metadata property, and it's going to be called Group. Group is a text-based metadata property, and any buttons that share the same group name can share the same cooldown. So this group name will be Weather, and we will hit Save. You can also add a property called Group Cooldown, which is a number which works just like cooldown does, but it's a group cooldown. I'm going to set this to 15 seconds. What that means is if another button is clicked that's a member of the same group, this button will go on cooldown for the group cooldown amount, 15 seconds. If this button is clicked, it goes on cooldown for the cooldown amount, which is 60 seconds. So let's demonstrate. In order for this to work, we need two buttons to be part of the same group. So Nice Day, I will add a metadata value called group that will be text-based, and it will be the exact same value, weather. Okay. We will add group cooldown. Now this could be different if you want, but I'm going to make it 15 seconds just to demonstrate it and hit save. Great. So let's save this project and go ahead and start Mixer Interactive. Okay. Now, I'm going to click the Spooky Time button. The cooldown on Spooky Time is set to 60 seconds. So that means when I click this button right here, this button will go on for 60 seconds. These two buttons are part of the same group, which means that when I click Spooky Time, the other button is going to go on a 15-second cooldown. Got it? Because that's the group cooldown on the nice weather. So let's give it a shot. Spooky Time, notice that Spooky Time went on a 60-second cooldown, and nice weather went on a 15-second cooldown. Sweet. Now the nice day is available again. Now, this button is still on cooldown, so when I click this, were it not on cooldown, it would have gone on a 15-second, but since it's already on a cooldown that's greater than 15 seconds, clicking nice day gets rid of the weather in Minecraft, which you can't see right now, but take my word for it. And then the nice day button went on a 60-second cooldown. FYI, buttons can be part of more than one group. All you have to do is separate them with a comma. So this could be weather, comma, time, so that these two, you could have a separate button for just make it day, but not affect the weather. And that could be part of the time group. And then you could have another button that says maybe, make it a thunderstorm, but not affect the time. And that could be part of the weather group. But then nice day does both weather and time. So you can be part of multiple groups, right? You could have weather, you could have time, you could have as many groups as you want, just separate them by commas. Now, the nice thing about this being a Java mod is that any commands that any other Java mods add to Minecraft are totally available to you. So let's create a cool button right now that I think will be pretty neat. So let's demonstrate one bit of functionality that I would like to use. I'm going to create a new button. And we're going to call it Dire Wolf. What? This button, whose text will be Dire Wolf, will have a spark of 25 and some meta value properties. The first one will be a command with the following text on it. Morph, direwolf 20, Minecraft wolf. Save. And we're going to add a property with a cooldown value of 15 seconds. Save. Perfect. We're going to drag that onto the grid. And then we're going to add another button called Dire Steve, which we will add with a spark cost of 15. And we will add a command value of morph, demorph, direwolf 20, and save. With a command cooldown of 15. Save that, and drag Dire Steve onto the grid. And save this project. I'm now going to stop and restart the project in Minecraft. So I bet you're wondering, what's going to happen when Direwolf clicks on the Dire Wolf button? I'm going to get morphed into a wolf. And when I click on the Dire Steve button, I get morphed back into my normal character. So that's using the morph mod, which added commands, /morph, that allows you to demorph, to switch them back to the normal character, or morph into a specific character. And with the morph mod, you can morph into any object in the game. So if you want to give your viewers the ability to control what your character is being played as, be it a wolf or a bunny or a skeleton, you could give that command an opportunity to be controlled to your viewers. How cool is that? Now, if you've done a lot of playing with Minecraft and commands, you might frequently use command blocks. Unfortunately, there's no direct way to call a command block using the Mixer Interactive API. However, there's nothing stopping you from placing a block of redstone right here, activating this first command in the chain. And you can set up a long chain of command blocks, and then you can terminate the command block, make the final command, setting the first block back to Minecraft Air. So if you'd like to execute a long chain of command blocks, the only command you have to paste into the interactive button is the appropriate location, set block. In this world, it's 66, 74, 212, but you'd have to set your own location based on wherever your command blocks are to redstone block. What that'll do is it'll place a redstone block here, executing the summon skeleton command, which then chains to the next block, which executes setting that same block to Minecraft Air, hence removing the redstone block. This is going to happen really quickly, so don't blink. Boom. The the skeleton was summoned, and we quickly got the block here set from redstone back to air. So it happens almost immediately in about a 20th of a second, so you probably didn't see it, but that's okay. So if you want to execute a long chain of block commands, it's really pretty easy. Let's demonstrate. I'm going to real quickly set up this command. So in order to do this, what we want to do is create a new button over here called command block test, and we will hit add. We're going to name it command test. Spark cost of 15. We don't need a tooltip, that's optional. The command is going to be the set block command, and then the cooldown can be whatever we want. We'll make it 5 seconds. Great. And in order to demonstrate this, all I'm going to do is drag it onto the grid, command test, save the project, and then we'll go back to our Mixer streaming page. I will run Mixer stop and then Mixer start with the same ID and share code again, of course. And you're not going to see it in game because I want to demonstrate it on the screen here, but I will go ahead and click the command block test. And if I bring up Minecraft again, you'll see a summoned skeleton. And you can see, you know, the block was placed, object successfully summoned, and then block placed. So this was placing the redstone, object successfully summoned was the execution of this command, and then block placed was run by this guy, which set it back to Minecraft Air. And you can see the output right there. So that's how you can execute block chains of command blocks using the Mixer Interactive API. Pretty cool. Now, one feature set that we haven't talked about just yet are scenes. Scenes are basically collections of buttons, and you can switch these scenes at will. In order to set up a new scene is pretty easy. We will call this the mob scene, for example. And if we name it mob scene and hit add here, we'll see that we have a whole new set, a blank panel and a blank set of buttons that we can create. So if you wanted to create multiple scenes, you could have one for messing with mobs, and one for changing the weather and the time, and another for doing morph, and you could have as many scenes as you want, really, and change them at your own will. So let's set up a button that we're going to call skeleton. That's going to be just a really simple button that's just going to summon a skeleton. Sound good? So we'll set the spark cost, and we will add the command to be /summon skeleton, and we will add the cooldown to be 15 seconds. Perfect. We'll drag this onto the dashboard, make the button a little bit bigger, and hit save. Now we have a new scene called mob scene. We still have the default scene that has all the buttons we just defined before. The default scene is what's going to activate as soon as you start the Mixer Interactive API. The mob scene we can change by using an in-game command. So let's go ahead and stop and restart our Mixer API, make sure everything is saved, and we will stop and start. And you'll notice when we start it up, we still are entered into the default scene. Perfect. Now in Minecraft, if we type Mixer scene mob scene, we will see that we don't get any feedback in game, but if we switch back to our Mixer screen, we'll see that we have that skeleton button there. Now, just to show you how quick this happens, I'm going to, in Minecraft, type /mixer scene default, which will switch me back to the default scene, and Mixer scene mob scene switches me back to the mob scene. So we can easily switch back and forth between those sets of buttons. So you can allow or control when your players can access certain buttons by switching scenes. It's pretty cool, and it's a pretty easy thing to set up. And that about wraps up the tutorial on how to integrate your Java Minecraft with the Mixer Interactive streaming API. It's pretty straightforward. It's really not hard to set up. Do keep in mind that you will need to download a Forge mod and install that into your Minecraft instance in order to use it. But you can use it with any other Forge mods, which allows you to run any custom command, including those added by mods, and tie that to a button that your viewers can click. It's pretty cool. I could see a lot of good uses for this. You could create a nifty map with some minigame that you, the player, are playing, and the whole map is built around your viewers throwing obstacles at you. There's pretty much the sky's the limit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. For now, this is Darwell20 signing off. Take it easy.